Good morning. Nicodemus is a figure introduced and found exclusively in the Gospel of John. He was a Pharisee and member of the Sanhedrin, the governing council of the Jewish people in ancient times. He was at the top of the social, political, and religious hierarchy of his time. As a high priest, he had access to wealth, comfort, and power. As long as a man of his standing didn't do anything to rock the boat, he could enjoy this lifestyle for the rest of his life. However, Nicodemus in the Gospels is not depicted like the other Pharisees and Sadducees who were condemned as hypocrites and broods of vipers. Those who were condemned were those whose hearts were so hardened by their life of luxury and power that they refused to believe, let alone listen to the message of Christ. Nicodemus, when hearing the message of Christ, instead of turning away, was curious and open. He sought out Jesus and visited him, seeking to gain the greater understanding of his message. This visit is described in John 3, 1-21. In the passage, Nicodemus acknowledges Christ as a teacher sent from God who has performed miracles on earth. Rabbi, we know that you are a teacher come from God, for no one can do these signs that you do unless God is with him. Nicodemus is hesitant to fully commit to his belief in Christ, at least at the moment. Later, in John 7, 50-55, Nicodemus, obviously growing more confident to his beliefs, defends Jesus from the accusations, saying, "Does our law judge a man before he hears him and knows what he is doing?" By doing so, he puts his position of power at risk. The final mention of Nicodemus we have in the Bible comes from John 19, where Nicodemus brings spices and myrrh to anoint Jesus' body before his burial, even aiding to the burial process. Throughout the Gospel of John, we see a continuum of belief represented in the various encounters of Nicodemus, from a man who knows yet is hesitant to believe, to a man willing to risk not only his status, but his life for the things he believes in. Although we do not hear anything else of Nicodemus in the Bible, it is clear to see he is a changed man from his encounters with Christ. His story is one that I think is very much applicable to our society, especially in the DC area. We are blessed to live in one of the wealthiest areas of this country in the world. Although not every one of us is powerful and rich like Nicodemus was, we live in a society where professing the truth of Christ will often result in negative repercussions for our careers and social standings. We may not face the same persecution that the martyrs of the past and present face, but we are still caught between the dilemma of choosing between the opinion of men and the opinion of God. In this struggle, we have many examples of the saints who seem to show no hesitation in their beliefs and will spring at the opportunity to give their life for the truth of Christ. Nicodemus, on the other hand, presents a more natural and human reaction, which I believe most people in this world would have if they were asked to give their life for Christ. He is hesitant. He is a man concerned with how he will find his next meal, how others will see him, and how his choices will affect him. It is the survival instinct ingrained in every one of our minds that results in these thoughts. But when we walk in the path of Christ, we are called to rise above these human instincts and instead put our faith in Christ. As Nicodemus is a saint in our tradition, we see that one can be deep in sin, hypocrisy, and the natural doubt that human beings experience, yet achieve redemption. His example of courage and openness to Christ's message shows that we can be drawn back to the light and regain union with God. Thank you.